Hello and welcome back to The Rusted Brush. This is part 4 of my ongoing series, painting the uniforms of the Empire provinces. If you've been following along, each video in this series covers a different province of the Empire. We explore some background lore, then move on to building and painting a model that reflects that province's character and style. As always, I'm not sticking to any particular timeline, and I'll be including provinces that no longer exist in the current Warhammer lore. If the series continues to do well, I'll start diving into city-specific uniforms and named regiments as well. Today we're heading north into one of the Empire's most battle-hardened regions, Ostland. Ostland lies in the northeast part of the Empire, bordering Nordland, Hochland, Talabekland, and most importantly, Kislev. It is a harsh, rugged land of dark forests, creeping mists, cold winters, and stoic people. Almost the entire province of Ostland is covered by the Forest of Shadows. Like the name suggests, it's an ominous forest. Its trees grow incredibly close together, making it extremely dark and very hard to navigate. The forest is home to chaos cultists, giant spiders, and beastmen. Only the heaviest armed convoys dare to traverse the forest. The capital of Ostland is Wolfenburg, a city often battered by war and beastman raids. The city is an important junction for trade between the Empire and Kislev. It has large walls to protect it from what lurks in the Forests of Shadows. Ostland is frequently on the front line during chaos incursions, and its people have developed a reputation for being stubborn, stern, and deeply loyal to the Empire. Culturally, Ostlanders are bullheaded and militaristic. This comes from their ability to survive harsh conditions of their province. No matter the circumstances, they are proud people with their heads always held up high. Bordering Kislev has also made them share some similarities between each other, like the way they speak and the preference of Kislevite vodka. The favored god of worship in Ostland is Sigmar, which is odd when the neighbors worship Rhea, Tal, and Ulrich. There isn't really any good reason besides speculation on why this is. Ostland state troops are known for their endurance and stubbornness in battle. They may not be the flashiest, but they will hold the line when others break. Halberdiers and spearmen are common, with greatswords and crossbowmen forming the backbone of the larger provincial armies. Mercenary ogres and soldiers are fairly common as well, since Ostland has a high population of ogres in its province. Unlike the vibrant colors of provinces like Talabekland, Ostlanders wear black and white uniforms, simple, stark, and practical. These somber colors reflect the grim reality of life on the Empire's edge. However, the simplicity also lends Ostland's troop a striking and disciplined look on the battlefield. The province's banner typically displays a black, white, or red bull's head, representing the stubborn and dependable people of Ostland. Nothing other than a bull or just a bull's head is common to see on heraldic devices. Now that's a quick overview of Ostland, so let's move on to the model and painting. To start, I'm going to be going over the parts I used and why I used them on the model. The legs and the torso are from the Greatswords kit. I like the idea of a more armored soldier compared to the rest of the soldiers I've done so far. Ostland is supposed to be fighting chaos more often, so I thought it would make more sense to be better armed. The arms are from Perry Miniatures Foot Knights. I thought that the GW arms that I had were a bit under-armored, and I know there's a bit of a scale difference here, but I think it looks okay. The shield is from the GW Skeletons kit. I wanted to show a bit of a Kislev influence on the soldier, and I thought the shield looked a bit Slavic in influence, so I think it'll work. The head is from the Cities of Sigmar command set, and I picked this because of the unique helmet and the large beard to solidify a tougher and survivalist look. As for the accessories, the plume is an old Empire plume to help bring back the idea that they are from the Empire. The canteen is also from the old Empire soldier kit. The gunpowder flasks are from the Empire missile troops. The pouch is from the archer's kit. The scabbard is from the Perry Miniatures Foot Knights. And the holstered pistol is from the Empire Pistolier kit. Looking at it compared to the rest of the model though, it does not look like a pistol. It looks like a long gun. And I know pistols back in those days were longer than they are now, but still, way too long I think. Assembly was fairly simple. The only thing was to fill in some gaps between the torso and arms with some green stuff. I also decided to give him a fur collar with some green stuff. Now let's begin painting. To start with, I primed the model white. We're going to be painting the clothing white to start with, so if I went for a darker undertone, it'd be a bit trickier to paint those white areas. Speaking of, I paint the clothing with Holy White speed paint to give those areas some depth and create a tonal shift for painting those areas. Next, I painted the shoes, pouch, and other bits with hardened leather speed paint. I then painted the pistol, holster, and beard with dark wood speed paint. The fur collar was painted with pallid bone, and then I painted the canteen with desolate brown. Now, I'm going to be going back to the white clothing, and I'm going to paint that with Vallejo Cold White. Then, in the creases of the pants, I paint vermilion red. This helped bring some contrast and to simulate the long necked style of pants with multiple colors. Next I use Abaddon Black to paint checkers and stripes on some parts of the clothing. For the checker pattern, I start with a simple grid and paint squares in that grid. I can always touch this up later by repainting the white areas, and later on it'll look much better. To have the holster look different from the pistol, I painted over it with AK Grey Brown. I also highlighted the canteen with AK Green Grey. Then, I applied a wash of Acrac Surfshade to the whole model. I don't really care if it gets onto areas like the armor that I haven't painted yet, because I'm just going to be painting over this. Once dry, I re-highlight the white clothing with Vallejo White to have them pop out again. I then paint the skin with Kislev Flesh and give it a wash of Crusader Skin Speed Paint. Now I give the model a brush-on matte varnish. The reason I do this now is that I don't want the next paints to be a matted color. And while I wait for that to dry, I move on to the base. I started by using AK Wet Mud for the base. Originally I was going to use snow, but I thought I would save that for some of the other northern provinces of the Empire. While the mud hasn't fully dried, I added some bits of bark and root from my backyard. Now, I move on to painting the metal bits of the model. For the armor, I start by painting the armor and sword with Broadsword Silver Speed Paint. I really like using this speed paint as a good way to block in metal colors and highlight it later on. The shield I wanted to stand out from the rest of the armor, so I painted this with Enchanted Shield Speed Paint, which has a darker bluish tone to it. I then give all the metal bits a wash of Nuln Oil to get into the depths and crevices of these areas. While I waited for this to dry, I added some tufts and vegetation to the base and painted the rim of the base. And finally, I highlighted the armor with AK Gunmetal and highlighted the sword and circles on the shield with P3 Quicksilver. Here's the model finished. I think the different parts came together, and I really like how the base came out in particular. I think he looks a bit heavy armored, and you could probably even count him as a captain, but in my sense, I think he's just a heavy armored sergeant of a swordsman unit or something like that. Anyways, let me know if you want the next video to be on another province, and which one, or if you want me to work on my Estelian army again. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care, everyone.